The Giants didn't follow up their first two Super Bowl victories with winning seasons. But here in 2008, they followed up a Super Bowl win against the Patriots, and they've started 2-0 with a chance to be 3-0 for the first time in 8 years. Jason Horowitz, CBS Sports' Charley Casserly, glad to be with you on the NFL previews presented by Comcast. And Charley, on paper, it appears to be a huge mismatch against the Cincinnati Bengals. Is it?
Well, you're right, it does. Cincinnati has not played well at all in the first two games. The Giants have been very impressive, in my opinion. Two sound football games, two sound wins. However, anytime you get two professional football teams play together, anything can happen in the course of the game. So, can the Cincinnati win the game? They have a chance, but they're going to have to do some things they haven't done in the first couple of weeks.
And that would be score some points. They only have one offensive touchdown so far in the first two games. And, you look at Carson Palmer, Charlie, he has not had time to throw. Will that change this week? Will they be able to pass protect against a great front seven for the Giants?
Well, let's look at Carson Palmer's stats in the first two games here. First game, definitely pass protection problems caused that 9 out of 24. Last week, wins up to 75 miles an hour. That's hard to throw in those situations. But I'm concerned this week for these reasons. The offensive line matchups versus the Giants' defensive line. The left tackle for the Cincinnati Bengals, Levi Jones, been a good player for a long time in this league, but he's not the same player he was. Seems to be going downhill, not as strong and as physical, especially anchoring on the pass rush. Matchup favor there, Matthias Kiwanuka, the defensive end. He's better than Levi Jones right now. Switching to the other side, Justin Tuck for the New York Giants against Stacey Andrews, the right tackle, Cincinnati Bengals. Andrews is a big physical guy who has talent, but he's raw. Didn't even start in college. This is the really first chance he's had to be a starter in the NFL. To me, he's going to struggle. Big advantage on the Giants' pass rush.
Palmer's only been sacked 3 times so far on the season. But again, as you mentioned, he's been running for his life. On the other side of the ball, the Giants' offense looked very good against St. Louis last week. Now, I know you can say it's St. Louis, but you can say the same thing. It's Cincinnati's defense, who is 30th in the NFL stopping the run. Are you expecting huge days for the threesome of Bradshaw, Jacobs, and Ward?
Well, I can't see why they wouldn't have it. I think the Giants can run the football. They ran against the Redskins on opening day. Redskins aren't a bad defense. Here you can see the stats there. Ahmad Bradshaw got into the game a little bit. Tom Coughlin's biggest problem is this. I know Brandon Jacobs is going to carry the ball. How do I get Ward and Bradshaw in the game? That's a good problem. Brandon Jacobs, contract year, going for a contract. Every week he's out there. He's going to want that ball, and he's going to really produce this year.
And bulldozing guys in the process, and Tom Coughlin has said, listen, Ahmad Bradshaw in the fourth quarter, that's going to be our guy. We get the change of pace, we get the fresh legs, and we saw what happened against St. Louis in that one. On the other side here, the other part to this is Eli Manning, and he has looked very good so far, controlling the offense. Not so much in the second half of week one, but especially last week. When you look at Eli Manning, is it a completely different quarterback than we saw at the beginning of last season?
Well, I'm not so sure. I was never as negative on Eli Manning as a lot of other people did. I think here you can see his start, almost 61%, 3 touchdowns in 2 games. I thought that what happened with Eli Manning is I think there was always too much criticism, and the expectations were grown out of proportion. The guy was a good football player last year. I think at the end of the year, maybe he played a little bit better, but I don't think he was bad at the beginning of last year. I think you can have a game or two that aren't good, but I think he's a good football player. He can make all the throws. He's a sound player. The key there is Plexico Burress. When he's in the game, you've got a chance to make plays, and he has a great chemistry with Plexico Burress.
And that could be a huge mismatch against the Bengals secondary as well. Let's throw all the numbers into the computer, get the AccuScore score prediction, 10,000 tests, 10,000 results, and it is it's a doozy. 81% the Giants on the computer come out on top. Charlie, you like New York to get the 3-0?
Yeah, the Giants are just playing much better football right now than the Bengals in all areas. They're at home. Giants go to 3-0. Bengals 0-3.
Yeah, and it's very tough to come back from 0-3, even if anybody expects Cincinnati to make it to the playoffs. Only 5 teams have done it since 1990. All right, folks, the game is 1 o'clock on CBS, and for more on this one or any other in Week 3, be sure to stay with CBSSports.com. Watch everything else all over the CBS Audience Network. For Charley Casserly, I'm Jason Horowitz. Take care, folks.